in Christian circles, we might hear the phrase or the sort of saying that the Word of God is alive and speaks to us today. But we might actually think, well, what on earth are people on about? How can words and ink be alive? How can it speak to us? And so I wanted to share with you some of the ways that God speaks to me through his word. I've been reading through Luke's Gospel recently, and there are many, many times through this book where we're told to listen. Jesus calls out and he says, "Let anyone with ears to hear listen." So we need to be listening, but it carries on, and then later on he says, "Then pay attention to how you listen." He then says, "My mother and my brothers are those who hear the word of God and do it." And there's more and more repetition of instructions to listen. Later on, there's words where God speaks through a cloud, and he says, "This is my son, my chosen. Listen to him." And so how do we listen to God? How do we listen to Jesus? Well, one way is to read our Bibles. And it's as simple as that. But actually, when we read our Bibles, look for words that keep repeating themselves and highlight them, as I do in my Bible. My Bible is highlighted in yellow and different colours, and I write little notes around the edges. And that I find really helpful to get the bigger message of what God is saying through his word. Also, sometimes God may speak through other people or through the repetition of things which keep coming up over and over again. And Lydia and I of late have repeatedly been coming up with the story of Mary and Martha. I just want to read this to you from Luke 10:38 through to 42. "Now as they went on their way, he entered a certain village where a woman named Martha welcomed him into her home. She had a sister named Mary who sat at the Lord's feet and listened to what he was saying. But Martha was distracted by her many tasks, so she came to him and asked, 'Lord, do you not care that my sister has left me to do all the work by myself? Tell her then to help me.' But the Lord answered her, 'Martha, Martha, you are worried and distracted by many things. There is need of only one thing. Mary has chosen the better part, which will not be taken away from her.'" And sometimes the Lord speaks to us through repeated messages, and this story is again about listening to God, listening to what he's saying. And I think for me at this time, this is a message about stopping being so busy, and by spending time listening, spending time in prayer. I don't know what God will be saying to you through the Bible as you search for him, as you listen to his voice, but I would certainly encourage you to do so. And I want to read from Psalm 139. There are two verses from verse 23 and 24 that I would just encourage you to pray through and invite the Lord to speak to you. When we listen to his voice, we listen through the word, we listen through thoughts that come to mind, and we listen through other people who speak into our lives. So from Psalm 139, 23 and 24, maybe you'd like to pray this. "Search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my thoughts. See if there is any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting." Take time each day to listen to the word of God and see what he says in you. It has transformed my life. I pray too that it would transform yours. God bless you. Take care and stay safe. Bye-bye for now.